Okay.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Oressa Boelk, and this is Cree Catlett. And
Hello.
we received all of your wonderful questions. And instead of sending answers to them individually, we decided we would just do a video and try to hit on all of them. And then if any of you have any more questions, you can ask them in the comments below or send us a private message through Facebook or Instagram. But either way, we want to answer all of your questions that you have for us today. And so I'm going to answer or ask some of the questions to Cree, and then she's going to go ahead and answer them. So, all right, let's get started.
Yeah.
All right, so the first question I have for you, Cree, is what are some herbs that help with blood circulation?
Yeah. So I myself have dealt with some issues with blood circulation, cold hands and feet, and being a tiny human, I thought it was just because I was tiny, but we do need some help with blood circulation sometimes, especially with cold, but thankfully it's warming up. But so my go-tos were always first hibiscus, and hibiscus tea is easily found. I always recommend steeping it for a really long time to get all that goodness out. And that really helps promote blood flow. The second thing that I love is hawthorn berries. And I like to make a decoction with them. So I steep it in simmering water for about an hour to 2 hours. And then I'll add some other herbs. I love gotu-kola, which is a tree, and it has these really beautiful leaves. And that is well studied for something called Meniere's, and anytime people have headaches or anything like that, it promotes blood flow to the brain, but also the rest of your body. And then food-wise, anything with nitrates, so beets. If you love beets, beets really help promote blood flow too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. They definitely do. So, so where can you get some of these? I mean, I know, of course, beets you can get at the grocery store, but some of the other ones that might be a little more difficult to get, or you can access them. I don't know if you can. I know a lot of people can't access stores right now, so maybe if you can get them through Amazon or the local grocery store, or even like, through gardening or something like that. So
Yeah, sure. So the ones that I recommended are hard to grow here, and if they do, it would take many, many years to get there.
Okay.
So if you're a seasoned gardener that has a big, beautiful garden, go for it, I would say. Otherwise, there are a couple herbal companies that I recommend highly. So there's Mountain Rose, which they're under really high demand right now. But usually Mountain Rose is the first place that herbalists will go if they need an herb, whether for production or home use, anything like that. The second thing that I would say is try a health food store. There are also health food stores online that ship. I know of one called the Herbiary. It's located in Asheville and Philadelphia, and sometimes when I have a hard time getting it in the grocery store, I'll order from them. They're a very reputable place. Tinctures also are a fantastic way to get herbs into your body. They're old school. They are made with alcohol, so if you're trying to stay away from alcohol, I recommend making a tea with them. So getting them online and teas, pretty easy to do for both those.
okay, awesome, really cool.
Yeah.
All right, and we'll put those links to those places where you can get these things on the comments below after we're done here. So, all right. All right, next question. What are some herbs that help with blisters?
Oh, yeah. So super common for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So blisters on your hands, on your ankles, anything like that from rubbing against shoes. It's usually where your skin is abrased, blood or sebum, not semen, sebum, sebum will build up there to protect your skin so that it doesn't get infected. So a lot of times I would tell people to just leave it alone and keep it covered so it still has some airflow. But if you do have to keep walking or keep using, that body part, it is okay to lice it, but treat it properly. So I always recommend people diluting some tea tree oil, and coconut oil. Coconut oil is a natural antimicrobial, but of course, tea tree oil is an antimicrobial, antifungal, and putting that on there. And then in my herbal first aid kit, I have a powder of golden seal, myrrh, and calendula. And those are incredible antibacterial, antimicrobial, antifungals, and they also help heal. So I'll dilute that in whatever type of oil I have. I like calendula oil the best. But you can do jojoba, you can do coconut oil, whatever you have, and just rub that on there, and then keep it loosely covered so it gets airflow still, and that'll heal and help bacteria from growing.
Okay. Yeah, those are all great. And those are some like things you can get like household wise or even at a local grocery store and stuff like that. So, which is
yeah, absolutely. And of course, essential oils are super popular right now. I don't endorse them heavily, but tea tree oil is a great one to have on hand.
Okay, good to know. Yes. So what is your favorite herb to work with and why?
Oh my goodness. That's like asking if you have a favorite child.
That's fair.
But I think we both share this feeling. Nettle is probably my go-to. Anyone that's a novice for herbs and they just want a great introductory herb, I always take them to nettles. And it's a weed. It grows rampant around here, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. And it's called stinging nettles. So they do sting. They abrade your skin quite intensely. So if you ever see them and wanna play with it, make sure you're wearing gloves. But if you ever see nettle, you'll notice that it is so green. It is packed with minerals and packed with chlorophyll. So super nutritious. It's extremely nourishing for every system in your body. And especially around this time, I like to recommend people drinking it as a tea because it is it's fantastic for allergies. It's an antihistamine. You can have it as tea. If you do have it fresh, you can cook it and use it as a substitute for any green in cooking. It's delicious. I love it.
Yeah, no, I love nettle tea as well. I've never actually picked nettle myself, but yeah, because I've always had it sting my hands, and so I never really thought about putting it like making it into tea. But I always buy it from the grocery store. So, but it is really good. Like I love nettle tea. It helps with so many things.
So many things. But I will say my herbal ally, like my baby, is passion flower. I love it so much. It works for a small percentage of people, and I'm thankful that it does work for me, and that is so calming and so nourishing. We had it growing all over the place when I was a kid, and we would always have tea with it, and we would go outside and like eat the little twills off it, and it was just super calming, and it's my favorite.
That's so cool. And you can find that like locally within the Shenandoah Valley, right?
Passion flower. So it's not native here, but herbalists do grow it. My stepmom was the one that grew it, and she has 10 green thumbs, so she could grow anything anywhere. So you can buy it. You can buy it as a starter and plant it at your house. It takes a couple years for it to really take off, but it does do well in this area.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. So yeah, all right, awesome. All right. All right, this one's my favorite. Why are some mushrooms okay to eat and others not? And how can you tell?
Oh, yeah. So I love mushrooms so much. I have some every single day, whether it's in tea or I eat them. So we are part mushroom. Our body recognizes mushrooms pretty well. But some mushrooms are poisonous. They're called mycotoxins. And the reason why some are poisonous and some are not, I would say, is the same reason that some plants are poisonous and some are not. They've adapted to be poisonous for some reason or another. And some are just culinary and some are medicinal. So I'm still learning about mushroom foraging. It is super cool. Right now, morels are in season. So if you're out in the woods ever, and you get down really low, look for morels. You can look at pictures. There aren't many that look like morels. There's only like one mushroom that like kind of looks like it. So that one's an easy one to go to. But if you're out in the woods and you're like, that's a mushroom, I wonder if it's poisonous. There are a couple signs that you can look for. So when you flip over the mushroom cap, you'll see either it's flat and it's porous, or you'll see gills. They look like little strands. And so those strands of gills, if they're white, it's a good sign they're poisonous.
Okay.
Another sign is any bright color. Another sign is if it has like a little ring around its stem, usually poisonous.
Okay.
But always look up the mushroom in a well-documented book if you're foraging.
Yeah, I would recommend bringing a mushroom book if you're going to go mushroom foraging.
No, definitely.
That sounds like a terrible way to have to visit the hospital, especially during these times. So maybe just, order them for now.
Order them. Yeah. I mean, honestly, morels they grow very well here in the mountains, and they don't have any lookalikes. So if you find one of those, if you look up a picture and you see it in the ground, you're probably safe.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And I know a lot of people are kind of hiking for social distancing. So, if you do see them, maybe try them out. So, and if you're
so good,
I guess if you're, cautious at all and you have any question, then just don't pick the mushroom. So,
yeah, exactly. And it's also good to note that even like portobello mushrooms slightly contain mycotoxins.
Mm-hmm.
It's super important to cook every single mushroom. So even your culinary mushrooms, cook them. It breaks down any tiny mycotoxin that it might have, but also makes all the goodness more bioavailable to our bodies.
Okay. Do you have any recommendations of the best way to cook them?
Cook them in fat.
Okay. So like oil,
butter, saute
kind of thing. Okay. With the saute.
Yeah.
Put some garlic in, that's a good one.
Yes. Ramps are in season right now. So if you're out hunting some ramps with your mushrooms.
Now I'm getting hungry.
Yeah. I know, right?
All right, next question. Is there an estimate of unknown herbs that have yet to be discovered?
So I don't know an estimate, but there has to be. There are so many plants and so many herbs that exist in the world that haven't been discovered yet.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, herbs and plants of all types have been used for as long as humans have existed. So the majority of them are taken care of. And the majority of herbalists, and especially our native peoples, are curious and have tried literally everything. So even plants that are toxic, that herbalists use, that they know are toxic, native peoples would use them in that way. So they would use plants that induce vomiting. They knew it was poisonous, and if they needed to throw up, they would take that plant, so they would throw up. They know, plants that are specific to outside poultice for 5 minutes tops, because otherwise it would kill you, but you need it to draw something out of your skin. They used it like that too. So there might be a small percentage of herbs that we haven't found their use for, but the majority of them, I think they know. Even like foxglove. Foxglove is so poisonous, and it's a beautiful flower if you've ever seen it. But it's used by cardiovascular doctors. It literally makes your heart stop. Yeah. And so even the poisonous ones have their use. Yeah.
Don't use the poisonous ones without medical direction. I mean,
yes, great advice. Yes, don't take foxglove. That one will kill you.
Bad idea. But it is interesting to know, like, even the toxic ones have some use, that you can.
Absolutely.
Yes, with guidance. So, yeah.
With guidance, yes.
All right. So the next one, in light of our current global health situation and with many people staying at home now more than ever with limited medical options, what are the most important medicinal herbs to keep in the home for preventative measures?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there are a couple different categories with this. Um, and my first aid kit at home is super dear to my heart. And also, I have some preventatives for cold and flus and just overall health, immune health in general. Um, and then my stress reducers, because that's me. Um, so in my herbal first aid kit, I always have yarrow. I grow yarrow. It's used for absolutely everything in an herbal first aid kit. So yarrow, number one, and you can get it as a tea. You can grow it. It grows very well here. You can get it as a tincture, and it's used for cuts, for burns, abrasions, for diuretics, for anything under the sun. Herbal first aid. Yarrow is your friend. And then under that, I also have that little powder that I was talking about. And that can be used for all of your cuts and abrasions, anything like that. So that's going to be golden seal, myrrh, and calendula. Um, if you don't have any of those powders, you can get them as teas and then grind them up yourself, totally fine. I usually keep calendula oil always on hand for burns. If you burn yourself on the stove, if you burn yourself in the sun, anything like that, calendula oil is your best friend. And calendula grows so well here. It's a beautiful flower. And then, of course, aloe vera, also super easy to grow. It's like keep it in sandy soil in the sun and it'll be fine. It'll grow to like this giant thing.
Beautiful plant.
It's awesome. And you just cut a little bit off and rub it on, your burn. It's perfect. Um, and then mullein, of course, mullein is amazing and it is a rampant weed around here. And if you look up a picture of mullein when it's first growing, you'll be like, oh, that thing? That's everywhere.
Like, I just heard of that thing, but no, it's actually like really helpful. So
yeah, super helpful. So anytime that I have an ache, or I've hurt my back, or I'm sore someplace, I'll take a leaf of mullein and just put it on my skin and kind of give it a gentle rub and not too harsh, and hold it there for like 20 minutes, and it promotes blood flow to that area to increase healing. You can also make it into a tea for anything with a respiratory system. So I love mullein, and it grows crazy around here all year, so that's amazing. And then some extra ones are activated charcoal for drawing out toxins. Clove, amazing for antifungal. So, and if you ever have anything with like your gums or your teeth or anything like that, you can steep like a cloth or something with clove, whole clove, and just hold it over your gums. So healing. And then turmeric, the best anti-inflammatory there is. And you can sprinkle that on any with that golden seal myrrh powder too, and it'll help as an anti-inflammatory and promote healing.
Okay.
So that's my herbal first aid. There's like 100 more things in my herbal first aid, but I like those.
I feel like it's a really good place to start. So
yeah,
essential things that you need. Yes, I remember you mentioning it in our class about this herbal first aid kit, and I was like, I need to see this thing.
It's great. It's a whole treasure box.
Sounds amazing. It sounds amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess the immune things, especially currently. So there are a lot of herbs that can help with upper respiratory issues if you're going through that, but preventatives are the best way to go. And my top preventatives are astragalus root. And you can buy that as a powder and as a root, and take it every day. Also, as a preventative over the winter, I like to take elderberry and elderflower, and then reishi mushrooms, reishi and chaga mushrooms, always good to take. And you have to cook those for a really long time or get them as a tincture, anything like that. And then echinacea. Echinacea is one that I like to take on and off. If you take it every day, it can impact your immune system pretty heavily, as it ramps up your immune system, as the other ones kind of just support your immune system.
Okay.
So echinacea tea, I'll have, every 3 days or something like that right now.
Okay.
So those are the ones.
How's the best way to take elderberry? Like, what's the form you prefer?
Yeah, definitely a decoction. So making a syrup.
Okay.
The elderberries, how most people get them is as a dried berry, and you have to cook them for about an hour to 2 hours to get all of that goodness out. And then I also like to make a tincture with it, so I'll steep it in alcohol for about a month.
Okay.
Yep. So both are fantastic.
And you also can buy elderberry syrup at like different stores and such.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not everyone is created equal. I don't recommend people taking elderberry gummies or anything like that, but
okay.
There are really good elderberry syrups out there. It is much more cost effective to make your own though.
Okay.
And it's easy, and you get to really just put your love and your heart into the syrup yourself.
Okay. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice. And it tastes so good.
Sounds relaxing to make too. So
it is. Yeah. It's thankfully like a hands-off process. So it's easy. Anyone can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Alrighty. So leading into, I guess, immunity, what are some herbs to mix in tea for anxiety relief?
Oh yeah, that's my everyday thing.
Yes. Especially these days.
Oh yes. So my top ones for anxiety relief is Tulsi, also known as holy basil.
Yes.
And yeah, it is one, delicious. Two, I like to have it every single day, and I recommend people having it every day if they're going through anxiety or stress. It's a very ceremonial herb in India and Nepal. And yeah, I love it. And you can get it pretty easily. The grocery stores carry the teas, which is awesome. So I love that one. Some other easy ones that people can have good access to are chamomile tea before bed, or even in the middle of the day if you're frazzle dazzled.
The biggest go-to for me is chamomile tea.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's beautiful, and it grows so well here. And then I make in my other daily tea that I have for stress, I put milky stage oats, which are a little bit harder to come by, but they work very well. If you get a tincture from it, it works like magic. And then other ones that you can grow really easily yourself are lemon balm. Lemon balm is known as the happy herb, and it takes off like mint. So if you grow it, it'll cover your garden. It's pretty cool. And what else do I? Damiana, which is more geared towards women, but I like Damiana as well for any anxiety relief. And you can have that as a tea or a tincture. And then there's ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an adaptogenic herb, and that is super easy to find these days in capsules and as tinctures. And the cool thing about adaptogens is it adapts to you. It adapts to both mind and body stresses. And it'll bring you up, it can bring you down, it adapts to where you want it to take you. So I also love that one. Okay. And then hemp oil, if you're open to that. I'm a huge fan of hemp oil. Most people call it CBD oil, but the whole plant is what really is magic. So I also take that about every 2 or 3 days.
And you also said something about the CBD oil in the herbal talk, something about how it needed to be a certain concentrate, or I forget exactly what it is, but like. you can be
Yeah.
fooled by what you're
Yeah.
actually getting the product. So
Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of companies out there that don't know really what they're talking about. So when you see a label and it says CBD oil on it, it could, one, be marketing, because that's what people are calling it now, or it could be an isolate of just CBD in some sort of oil.
okay.
And in a hemp plant, there are these things called phytocannabinoids, and CBD is just one of them. There are about 150 other phytocannabinoids in a plant, and you really want all of them, or at least, 20 to 50 of them, um, to really get a full synergistic effect in your body. If you just take CBD, it'll have little effect and you'll continuously need to take more and more and more. Whether it's if you were to get a whole hemp oil, that will do magic and wonder, and it'll open up all of these receptor sites in your body and help everything just work better.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Helping you relax and everything like that. Yeah.
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
It helps people sleep. It can help people wake up. That one, it meets your body where it needs it to go. So it
Okay.
won't work the same way for everyone.
That's true. Yes. I feel like a lot of these, they don't necessarily work for everyone. So you kind of have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
So,
And the cool thing is they're all very safe. I'm not recommending anything that's dangerous or you have to get a prescription for or anything. They're all very, very safe to take.
and are these, I guess you would have to check what medication you're taking, but if you are on medications, like, should there be some kind of warning for anyone for these, or they should just kind of check in with their primary care physician before they.
Absolutely check in with their doctor first. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, I don't believe any of the ones that I have recommended will have any drug interactions. Um, the big known drug interaction ones are going to be like St. John's wort and California poppy and those sort of things. But the other ones that I've recommended are all very, very safe and don't have any, usually wouldn't have any drug interactions. Um, Hemp oil is the one that, if you have a full panel drug test, it would show up that you have phytocannabinoids in your system. Um, and usually those are for like government workers, things like that. But it's becoming so common and useful now that a lot of the regulations are lessening, which is great
Yeah.
because it's not a drug. It's a completely different plant.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, but if you do have any questions, about any of these interacting with your medications, just consult your primary care physician.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but like,
There's information's out there,
right.
definitely. A lot of primary care physicians aren't in the herbal world, so you
Mhm.
might say that you're taking some of this and they're not really quite sure what it is, or they might be a little bit fearful of it because they haven't heard of it, which is totally understandable. So the research is there for you to do as well. I always tell people to take matters into their own hands, because the information is out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, what types of relaxing herbs are easy to grow for those of us who aren't the best at taking care of plants,
Sure.
aka my husband? He got
I mean,
mentioned.
plant babies, they take care and attention and love, and it's sometimes really hard to do that. I mean, I know that I get busy and I'm like, whoops, I haven't watered the plants in a week. So ones that grow outside are super easy to take care of, that usually are flowers. So chamomile is very easy to grow.
Okay.
And you can grow that in both a pot or straight in the ground. It grows very well here. And you can use the flowering part and make teas with it. And then I mentioned lemon balm, which just grows like a crazy mint weed. So plant that in the ground and it'll take off. You can also do it in a pot. And then lavender is another one that I really like. It grows fairly well. I recommend it being outside with a little mulch, and you can plant it next to like rosemary and all of those other woodsy things that require the same type of temperament. So that one's super easy to grow too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So just
Yeah.
plant it and kind of leave it and let the water and soil everything.
Yep.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I guess try not to plant too many weeds. You might upset your neighbor, but but I mean, yeah, I mean, those are really great options for people, especially like now, if you can get access to them, you have the time to start planting some things. I mean, indoor garden, outdoor garden. I mean, gardening in general is just very relaxing. And so you get both the benefit of having the herb you're growing, but you also get the benefit of working the soil and helping to relax yourself. It's like you almost go into like a meditative state when you're gardening. So
it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. I spent my weekend prepping the garden and getting everything ready, and I can't wait for this weekend to do the same thing.
It's the same thing, exactly. Get out the house and let's garden. So
yes.
Absolutely. So I actually had one more question in regards to the teas, because you had always mentioned you like to kind of mix some of your teas. So like, what's your favorite concoction of tea?
So it changes like every 3 days.
Okay. What's your favorite right now then?
Okay, so I'm currently pouring some.
Okay.
So I am really into green rooibos right now, the whole leaf green rooibos. So most people know about red rooibos tea, but green has a little slightly higher antioxidant profile and all these other really big high words that we'll leave out. And it's delicious. And then I mix that with, well, my morning one, my morning one is the green rooibos with nettles, damiana, hibiscus, hawthorn berries, tulsi. Yeah, I make that. And then my evening one is green rooibos with tulsi, milky oats, chamomile, and what else am I missing? Some other nighttime one.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I mix those, and then sporadically, I'll mix in whatever I'm feeling that day.
Okay.
So super into green rooibos right now, and tulsi always.
Those all sound like great options. I'm like thinking of making a tea concoction one of these days when I can get access to all the leaves.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest limit right now, is getting access to some of these things, but knowing that you can grow some of them and they grow pretty quickly is good to know. So. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and depending on where you live, your local grocery store, even like Martin's, I know Martin's is pretty prevalent in this area. They have a little natural section. Mm-hmm. So if you're making your big grocery trip, go to that little natural section and look in their teas. And most of the time they'll have some pretty good stuff. If anything, they'll have echinacea tea, they'll have tulsi tea, linden tea, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so instead of just doing one tea bag, get creative and do multiple tea bags.
Exactly.
See how it works. So, time for the experimenting.
Exactly. Yeah. But we'll put the notes down below so you can buy it. Buy it in more full leaf. I prefer doing full leaf. It saves on plastic and paper and boxes and shipping and all of that stuff. So.
And you also can buy little cool like tea things. Forget what their name is. A
strainer?
Yeah, kind of thing. So like I have a little shark one that I like to use. Or you can also get a teapot. I have also several of those too. So. Teapots are amazing. So
a strainer, a steeper. Why can't I think of it either?
I put you on point. You must remember the word.
It's a steep and then you strain it. It's perfect.
You guys know what we're talking about. It's fine. But anyway, so yeah, but if you guys have any questions, I mean, just message us through Instagram, even if, throughout, like after this, throughout the week, or, if you have questions, just send it our way and we'll try to get to them and answer them and such. So, but Cree, did you have any like words you wanted to say to the peoples as they're experiencing these strange times?
Yeah. It is super strange. At first I was getting frustrated trying to get acclimated with the change. As it was changing from winter to spring, as it got warmer, as classes went from in person to online, it was a lot of change all at once. And my advice is sit with it, kind of feel it, and take note of the goodness that comes with change, being home, being grounded, being rooted, being in the sun and not in a classroom. The ability to make tea at home all day. there are benefits to this in this really scary time. And if you have the ability to connect with both the outside, because we are at home, but we can always step outside of our home, even if you live in the city, just to breathe the air.
Mm-hmm.
Go into the woods and pick up a couple things and get curious about the plants. Like, what is this that I'm holding? Even if it's a weed, it could be super medicinal.
Yeah, sure.
And take care of yourself as much as you can. And if you're having any questions or doubts about taking care of yourself and what you can do, I'd love to help. And share some advice and things that I've been doing and that I've heard other people are doing to do that. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yes. And it is definitely a very stressful time, and like Cree said, though, kind of taking the time to realize that this could be a good opportunity, but also realizing that it's okay to be stressed. Don't feel like you need to push it down and be like, let it out. If you need to cry, it's like, it's one of those things that you don't need to suppress. So, but
Totally.
yeah. Well, if you guys have any questions, I hope this was very informative. I mean, it was fun for me, and I'm sure it was fun for Cree as well. So, but if you do have any questions, send in the comments below, send us messages, whatever works for you. But until then, like this post, but also use the hashtag Let's Talk Herbs and share it a bunch. So,
share it a bunch.
So, but I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, week, and stay healthy, stay safe, stay inside for now. So, unless you need to go out and walk. But yeah, so see y'all later.
Bye.